Hey, Rainbow here. Welcome to my channel. And look what we have here today. The beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, the scrambler of scramblers, really. I mean, you don't need the 1200, but anyway, we are looking at the Triumph Scrambler 900 right here in this beautiful green. It's a 2023. They don't quite have the 2024s out yet. A little early, I guess. But anyway, we're gonna take this thing for a spin and see how it feels, and that's about it. So let's do it right now. All right, folks, here we go. I'm in a little bit of a different spot than I normally am because there's the road is shut down where they're doing some construction, but that doesn't matter. What matters is what's in front of us that we are looking at. This is the 2023 Triumph 900. This can be yours at a starting price in the United States of $11,795. That's where it starts. This, of course, has a gorgeous liquid-cooled 8-valve parallel twin. The parallels. Anyway, 900cc. Now this thing cranks out about 64.1 horsepower, although it feels like a little bit more than that to me. And to be quite honest with you, it's probably because of that 59 pound-feet of torque, which is about, let's just call it 80 Newton meters, and that's at 3,250 RPM. And by the way, that 64.1 horsepower, that's at 7,250 RPM. Now this has a 2-into-2 exhaust. It does have a wet multi-plate clutch, and it's a 5-speed, not a 6. This is a 5-speed. I'm pretty confident after taking that Thruxton out, this doesn't really need a 6-speed. Now this has that tubular steel frame, and the swing arm is a steel 2-sided as expected for a scrambler. Nice, slightly narrow front wheel, front tire. On the front, it's a 19-inch by 2.5 inch. Typically, they're about 3, but that is a 2.5-inch, a little on the narrow side, but that is the Scrambler. You can, of course, see that beautiful liquid-cooled component there. The rear is a 17-inch, and it is a pretty standard 4.25-inch, slightly narrow, but it's a nice 150/70. This bike, front and back, come with Metzeler Tourance tires. And I may have forgot to mention that the front tire is a 190/19, where the rear is a 150/70 R17. Front forks, well, they're 41 millimeters. They have about 120 millimeters of travel, and it has cartridge dampening. Now it has the rear twin shocks, again, Scrambler style here, and it's adjustable. They're both adjustable for preload, as you can clearly see on the bottom there. And they also give out about 120 millimeters of travel front and rear. Now that is a single caliper Brembo brake on the front that is about, what the heck is it, 310 millimeter, and it is a Brembo. If you could see there, that is a Brembo. Little different story on the back. Now I'm not sure the manufacturer, it doesn't really say in the specs, but this is a 250 millimeter single in the back. And let's talk about, you see those plates? This does have front and rear ABS, and this ABS is switchable on and off, which you would expect for off-road use. Now that seat height is a very comfortable 31.1 inches, about 790 millimeters. Now this gorgeous tank with a little bit of a chrome on the side there looks great, and that's gonna hold about 3.17 gallons or about 12 liters of gasoline. Hey Rainbow, well, how heavy is this bike? Well, that's a great question. It is wet, about 492 pounds, equal to 223. That's 223 kilograms. There are 3 ride modes on this bike. Did you hear me? There are 3 ride modes on this bike, and they are road, rain, and off-road, and those are the only ones that you need. Now I'm going to leave it in road mode. Normally I put these in sport. This doesn't have a sport, doesn't have a reason to have a sport. We're going to go out and take a peek at this, and let's take it for a spin right now, because that's the most important part of it. As always, thank you, Two Wheels World, Triumph Motorcycles, and Ducati in Pompano Beach, Florida, for allowing me to take this bike out. All right, so the most important thing, let's take this thing for a spin. Have all my gear on, helmet, gloves, jacket, riding pants. Otherwise, well, I have motorcycle jeans and full face helmet. Let's do this. All right, swinging a leg over. I have a 32-inch inseam. I'm about 5'11 and a half, and easily flat foot this with some bent knees. As a matter of fact, this is a Triumph, so as usual, we will have to pull in the clutch in order to get it to fire up. Without the clutch pulled in, Triumph, well, they won't let you start. All right, how does it sound? It sounds really good. Sounds actually excellent. It's a nice throaty sound here. Beautiful. Oh yeah. That torque you can feel. I mean, this bike feels good right off the bat. It's amazing. It's a pretty comfortable riding position too, and I'm not even out of the parking lot. Of course, I rode it over here, so I know what it feels like. But I have to report it to everyone else. Alrighty. So, a 900. Plenty of power. I mean, and I keep saying this on a lot of other reviews, we don't really need anything any heavier, bigger than this. This is plenty of power. Of course, it's a scrambler, you know, made for some off-road, going down some dirt roads, and it feels pretty good. It's a very good riding position here. They are mid controls, again being 5'11 and a half, 32-inch inseam. Pretty darn comfortable. You know, maybe if you're a taller guy, you may feel a little scrunched, but you can always scoop back on the seat if you want, or come forward because it's a uniseat. It's just a one-piece seat, front to back, so there's lots of room for you to slide yourself back and forth. Pretty good acceleration. Mirrors, not too bad. They go out nice and far, so I have a good view on either side. How does it feel? Wow, surprisingly nimbler than I thought it was going to be. Now, I did take out I think it was the Ducati Scrambler, the Night Shift, and I really loved that bike. I thought it was a great bike. It had a lot of reviews, so if you're undecided between like a Ducati Scrambler and this bike, go ahead and watch the other video on that Ducati Scrambler Night Shift and see what I think about both. They're both actually really nice bikes, but as usual, Triumph just makes things, I don't know, they're just smooth. All the Triumph motorcycles are very smooth. They could be that parallel twin that's in here, but this is a very smooth, very comfortable bike, and I'm liking it. I'm really liking this a lot. Fourth gear, yeah, not a lot of power for pickup, but I'm already, you know, I'm kind of down in the RPM anyway. Huh, this feels good. Now, the ABS are on, so I'm going to do a little bit of an emergency braking coming to this intersection like I normally do. I just hope I don't screw myself. Let's see how it goes. Front and rear. Okay, not very aggressive, not too bad. Oh, did I forget to mention that I forgot to put, oh man, I forgot to put the license plate on the back of this thing that has the registration on it and everything. Shit. Really good right out of the barn, right out of the gate here. Feels pretty darn good. Oh man, this bike has some get up and go. I am rather impressed. Let's see if, yeah, I can lock them up a little bit. The ABS is not super aggressive, so let's let you know that, because I was able to chirp the rear wheel. Not super aggressive on the ABS, so that's impressive. I like that. I don't like ABS that's just too aggressive and comes on so quickly. Now, sitting still, what I'm going to tell you is, man, your right leg can really feel it, the heat here, because the exhaust is literally right here. there's not much protection. So I have a tendency to put my right foot out so I can really feel it. When you're on the bike and going, it's not so much, but putting your right leg out isn't such a good idea. So on this bike, I think I'm going to have to use my left leg at intersections. But then when I do that, my calf is up against it. Very good acceleration for a 900. Excellent acceleration for a 900. I mean, that was a Tesla that obviously has a lot of get up and go and can blow my doors in, but that was pretty good acceleration. Let's see what it feels like on the highway, because that's coming up next. And very smooth. It's not a real choppy throttle. It seems like it feathers in really nicely and very smoothly. The delivery of power on the low end is impressive. Now, of course, there is no wind protection on this bike. I'm not going to expect any. Beautiful. Beautiful. There, let's put the RPM there. All right. Yeah, like zero wind protection, nothing that you're going to feel or expect. And honestly, at about 80 miles an hour, there's a decent amount of vibration here. 80, 85, somewhere around there in fifth gear. This is where I will say that maybe if you're going to be on the highway cruising at about 80, 85, if you keep it just under 80, it seems like it's pretty good. As soon as you hit slightly above 80, around 80 miles an hour, that's when you really feel the vibration in these handles. So we'll keep this down nice and low because the wind is beating the crap out of me anyway. You do have to tuck in at these speeds. You can feel this bike for sure at this speed. It's downshift. Beautiful. Beautiful. Very stable. Coming into the corners here, almost 70, 65 miles an hour. Coming in, downshifting. Feels really good. The engine braking isn't all that impressive on this, but it doesn't need to be. It's not what this bike is really designed for. Yeah, I have to go back to this pipe right here. There needs to be maybe a better shield. There is a shield on this pipe, but you can really feel it on the inside of your thigh on the right hand side, and if you do go to the left and lean, then it puts your inside calf against this. So the one downside I'm going to say right off the bat is the protection. I did not have this problem with the Ducati Scrambler Night Shift, so I'm a little surprised at that. When you're up and running, of course, it's fine. As soon as you come to an intersection, however, you certainly feel it. Wow, there is no shortage of torque and get up and go. I'm going to repeat that. There is no shortage of get up and go on this 900cc bike. It really feels good. Very comfortable. Just this heat problem is really bothering me, because your legs are always right up against the heat shield. Literally right up against the heat shield. What am I going to do here? I'm not going to get stuck in the middle of this. Alright, so on this ride, I don't know why there's a lot of extra thick traffic here, and for some reason I spend a lot more time in stop traffic, and this right-sided heat, this is the third time I'm mentioning it. I just got to let you know, it's hot. it is time to take it over the railroad tracks for the test. I know that this is going to do extremely well because of the 120 millimeters of travel that the front and rear suspension has on this bike. I always take it at about 50 miles an hour to see how it feels. I'm dialed into about 50 miles an hour, which is somewhere around 80 kilometers an hour. All right, there's 50, and like a champ. Just as expected, it took it like a champ. All right, so a little review. The bike is pretty nimble for what it is. I don't think that the ground clearance is super high for a scrambler, so I think this would be more, I don't know, maybe more restrictive off-road. All right, let's try one more time. Yeah, this has really good get up and go. I mean, I just don't see the point of having a motorcycle like this that's a heavier duty, unless you need the 6th gear because you're doing a lot of traveling. If you can do a lot of traveling, you're going to want more wind protection. So this is a great bike for just beating around town. Okay, so the question is, who is this bike for? All right, is this for the beginner rider? The answer is not really, but I'm not going to say no. And I talked about this with another bike. If you have some level of previous experience, maybe you're riding dirt bikes as a kid, you're really good on a bicycle, you're very comfortable on 2 wheels, you're more mature, I think this bike is a great choice. I have no problem for the beginning rider because it has a nice amount of torque. You're not going to go super fast on it because it doesn't have a 6th gear, so, and you're not going to want to get beat up in the wind, you know, over 80 miles an hour anyway. So the reality of it is this bike is for a maybe more mature beginner. It comes in at a pretty decent price point, which is always nice to see. And the other component of it is if you're new to motorcycles and you're young, may not be the best choice for you. So this is a great second bike for beating around town. If you already have something to kind of tour with, it's nice for a little bit of minor off-road, a little more toned down off-road stuff. Woo, listen to that. Woohoo! And that really is about it as far as who I think this bike is for. It's extremely comfortable, very smooth, a good riding position, which goes with the whole comfort idea. And well, I think it's well priced. It's just a nice scrambler. Remember what it is, you know, the type of tires that it comes with kind of tells you what this bike is made for. It comes with the adventure tires, so you're going to expect to do a little off-road. I think you'll be really comfortable with this. I'd love to take this thing on a nice dirt road with the ABS off. Well, it has no traction control, so I'd love to take it on a dirt road anyway, and just see how I can fishtail and spin that rear tire around on the dirt. I bet it feels pretty good. And again, with that 120 millimeters of travel on the front and rear suspension, it really works nice. Anyway, thank you, Ian, from Two Wheels World right there, Ducati Forza, but this is the Triumph section, so Triumph Motorcycles, Two Wheels World here in Pompano Beach, Florida. Thank you again, Ian, for allowing me to take these brand new bikes out. I really appreciate it. And folks, please like, please subscribe. I think we picked out just about all the important things of looking at this bike. And after you like and subscribe, why don't you comment? Tell me what you think about this bike, or how about what's the difference? You know, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the night shift, or do you prefer
from Ducati, or do you prefer this Scrambler 900? I mean, and after riding this, I don't really want to ride the Triumph Scrambler 1200 because I think this is more than sufficient. All right, Rainbow out. Have a good day. Bye-bye.